In 2014, I was working as an Auslan interpreter, providing communication between the hearing world and the signing deaf community. Through my work, I came to understand the barriers that signing deaf people face on a daily basis. These barriers include access to education at all levels, from kindergarten through to university, as well as access to services we all take for granted, such as medical appointments, job interviews, and mental health support. The inequity of this bothered me a lot, and I began to wonder what I could do to redress some of this inequity. That's when I decided to become a clinical psychologist with the ability to treat members of the signing deaf community in their own language. Now, this was not an easy decision, as I was a single parent with 2 primary school-aged children and bugger all income. Returning to study was going to be a huge challenge, logistically and mentally, but most of all financially. I researched options, set budgets, worked out how much I needed to work to cover the significant shortfall between Centrelink benefits and the rising cost of living. And in 2015, I jumped into studying a Bachelor of Social Science psychology full-time at RMIT. Excuse me. Towards the end of the first year, I realised that my situation was untenable. I was burning through my savings and had to find a source of income elsewhere, or I would not be able to continue studying. Part-time study combined with work wasn't really an option. I'd investigated this earlier and realised the way Centrelink benefits are tiered, the more I worked, the less benefit I received, which meant I had to work more to try to make up that shortfall, meaning even less benefit coming in, and so the cycle goes. This system was ultimately going to deny me the ability to pursue a fulfilling career that delivered a much-needed service to a marginalised section of our community. Working full-time and chipping away at my studies 1 course at a time was also not an option, as I'd be completing my studies long after retirement age. So I had to find another way through or forego the goal. That's when I found and applied for the George Alexander Foundation Scholarship. I cannot describe the joy and immense relief I felt when I received the offer. Happy tears really don't happen often enough. Over the next 2 years, it supported me to pay rent, feed my children, and continue to pursue my academic ambition. The scholarship meant the difference between being able to continue studying or having to give up, to pursue a fulfilling career or to take jobs just to pay rent and ensure my children's security. To be afforded the opportunity to pursue my goal despite the inequity of my own situation is an opportunity I do not take for granted. When I first told this story in 2019, my journey wasn't over. I was yet to undertake a master's degree. Thankfully, I was accepted into La Trobe University's Master of Clinical Psychology program, and I entered the final phase of my studies, which started in 2020. We all know what happened next, but I won't traumatise you with the details. I think we've all suffered enough. Suffice it to say that with just enough savings to see me through, I completed my studies in July this year. And as Craig mentioned, I started my new role as a psychologist in public mental health in August this year. I'm working with adolescents and their families to understand and support the young person through their struggles. One of these families I'm working with have signing deaf parents. The relief on their face to be able to communicate directly with the clinicians is priceless. My purpose can now be realised thanks to the generosity of George Alexander. I will always be grateful to the George Alexander Foundation for judging my application worthy of a scholarship. I acknowledge how I have benefited from the generosity of others and will in turn perpetuate the cycle of generosity through giving back to the community. I hope, like all of you who continue to support his vision, that I too have made George proud. Thank you for your time and attention, and congratulations once again for 50 years of noble service. Have a really lovely evening. Thank you.